the early evening edition of the news. The recent fight in the House of Representatives was over the open housing section of the Civil Rights Bill. Brought traditional enemies together, but it left the defenders of the measure without the votes of their strongest supporters. A compromise was painfully worked out in the House Judiciary Committee. In Los Angeles today, Canadian Lenny Bruce died of what was believed to be an overdose of narcotics. Bruce was 42 years old. Dr. Martin Luther King says he does not intend to cancel plans for an open housing march Sunday to the Chicago suburb of Cicero. The police in Cicero said that they would ask the National Guard to be called out if it is held. King, now in Atlanta, Georgia, plans to return to Chicago Tuesday. In Washington, the atmosphere was tense today as the House Committee of Un-American Activities continued its probe into the anti-Vietnam War protests. Demonstrators were forcibly evicted from the hearings when they began chanting anti-war slogans. In a speech before the convention of the Veterans of Foreign Wars in New York, former Vice President Richard Nixon said the opposition to the war in the country is the greatest single weapon working against the U.S. That is the 7 o'clock edition of the news. Good night. Glory sees from heaven above, heavenly hosts sing hallelujah. Christ the Savior. Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, Son of God, lost your light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of freedom.
Good morning. This is the dawning of a new age, the Hippie Edition of the news. Today, Dr. Martin Luther King became the youngest recipient of the prestigious Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts against racial prejudice and segregation in the United States. This is a tribute to the majestic courage of those who walked with me. People gathered in celebration today at the White House lawn as President Johnson swore in 50 Peace Corps volunteers to serve in countries around the world. Today marked the 5th anniversary of the organization, started by President Kennedy and fueled by the compassion and generosity of the American people. In a world of violence, these volunteers have shown that there is really another way, the revolution of peaceful change. In Santa Cruz, the atmosphere was joyous when folk singer and peace activist Joan Baez finally received approval from the Board of Supervisors to operate the Institute for the Study of Nonviolence. In mankind's continued reach for the stars, Major Edward H. White II opened the hatch of Gemini 4 and stepped out 120 miles above the Earth, becoming the first American astronaut to walk in space. He is quoted as saying, "My body is walking in space. My soul is in orbit with God's face to face. A trip we will all wish we could take." That's the Hippie Edition of the news. Peace out.